Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today's video, we're doing episode 4 of season 2 of the Look-In series, a series where I go through all 30 NBA teams at the end of their season and talk about, kind of recap their season, look towards the future, what state the team is in, and all the stuff surrounding that team. Today's episode is on the Portland Trailblazers. We're going to talk all about them here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, so that in the description down below. If you missed any of the other Look-In series videos, you can go back to the playlist on my channel. You can go back and watch that. And yeah, let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. The Portland Trailblazers this season, they finished 21-61. Their worst record since 2006. Not a good year for Portland record-wise, but this is what we kind of expected. You know, they traded Damian Lillard, made a big franchise move, trading away the greatest player in their franchise history, Damian Lillard, over the summer, committing towards the future, the rebuild. So I think we all expected them to be a pretty bad team, and they were a bad team. Finished with the worst record in the Western Conference. Yeah, they were a bad team season, but that's what we kind of expected. But it also was a little bit disappointing in the sense of we didn't get to see a lot of the young players that we wanted to see as much as I wanted personally as well. They had a lot of injuries this season. I think that defined a lot of their season. Looking at some of their guys, Anthony Simons only played 46 games this year. Shane Sharp only played in 32 games this year. Scoot played in 62. You know, Robert Williams only played 6 games. So, like, they had a lot of injuries to some of their big time players. Or, well, not big time, but some of their young players that we really wanted to see this season. You know, had a lot of injuries this year, which forced them to play a lot of their guys that, you know, no one really knows about. You know, a lot of unexpected players getting minutes and stuff and having good years as well, either way. You know, they did have some good things in this season. Anthony Simons, in those 46 games he played, he averaged 22, 5 assists, shot 43, 38, 91. Just an amazing player. Jerami Grant only played in 54 games this year. He averaged 21 points a game, shot 45, 40, 81 shooting splits in the first year of his new contract, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in a minute or two. Jerami Grant was really good. You know, Shane Sharp in his 32 games he played averaged 16, 5, and 3. You know, he had some good moments. Malcolm Brogdon, who I honestly forgot Malcolm Brogdon was even on this team. He averaged 15, 4, and 5. He only played in 39 games. A little disappointed that he was not traded, but we're going to talk about his trade destination potentially in the next couple minutes. But yeah, they had a lot of other guys that really stepped up. Duop Reith became an NBA player this year. Before the season, I didn't know no one knew who Duop Reith really was. He came in this season, he played in 67 games. He averaged 9 points, 3 rebounds, shot 46, 35, 73, and now he's on a regular NBA contract, you know, at 27 years old. Jabari Walker played the most games by a Blazer this year. He played in 72 games. He averaged 9 and 7. You know, Tumani Kamara, who was a second round pick last year by the Suns out of Dayton, was involved in the Damian Lillard trade, how he got to Portland, became like, he started 49 games this year and averaged 7 and 5 on 45, 33, 75 shooting splits, was a really good defender as well. You know, so you got to see some players that you really weren't expecting to see come out and actually, you know, make a name for themselves a little bit. Now, again, who's really watching Portland? No one really. But looking at them, it was like, dang, you know, Duop had a good year. Jabari Walker, Tamani Kamara had good years and kind of established themselves as they could be potential NBA players this year, which is really nice to see that. One big thing about this Portland Trailblazers year as well was Scoot Henderson. Of course, he's the number 3 overall pick in this draft, kind of supposed to be the replacement, quote unquote, for Damian Lillard. Really excited to see how his rookie year is going to be. He did deal with injuries at some point. He only played in 62 games. Didn't have the best rookie year, finishing averaging 14, 3, and 5. Averaged over almost 3.5 turnovers per game. The efficiency was horrible. 38% from the field, 32% from 3, 82% from the free throw line. Yeah, efficiency was not great. A lot of turnovers, a lot of fouls as well. He averaged 3 fouls. He averaged the most fouls per game on the team, which is interesting. That a point guard averages the most fouls on a team. Yeah, not the best year for Scoot Henderson, rookie year. You know, and a lot of people have been talking about Scoot and all this stuff. But me personally, and what then it should be, I don't think we should worry too much about Scoot Henderson's rookie year. I don't think we should worry that Scoot didn't have an all rookie first team type of year. He might not, personally for me, he did not make my all rookie team, but he probably might make the real all rookie team just because statistically he had a pretty decent season. But, I don't think we should really fret or be frightened or be like, oh my God, here we go with Scoot Henderson not having an amazing rookie season. For a couple of reasons. One, he did have the injuries early in the year. Two, this Blazers team was pretty bad. He had Malcolm Brogdon there, but Malcolm Brogdon didn't really play that much either. He only played in 30 games. So he didn't really have a lot of veteran leadership around him to kind of help him with his mistakes. And again, the team was pretty bad. I think they were are they the youngest team in the league? They might be the youngest team in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if they are. So it's not like he has veterans around him. It's not like he has an amazing team around him to help him out. You know what I mean? And three, I feel like the point guard position is probably the hardest position to kind of come into the NBA as. Like a point guard, you really have to come in and you have to know a lot. You have to get your teammates involved, get yourself involved, learn about the pace of the game, try to control the game. There's just so many things that come with being a point guard, especially as a young point guard at 19, 20 years old, coming into the NBA. Like that's a lot. Now people have done it before, but it's not easy at all. So I personally am not super worried or frightened about Scoot Henderson's rookie season. Now if he comes in next year and doesn't show that much growth or doesn't have an amazing, not amazing, but he kind of is similar and doesn't have a great second season, then maybe we can start having some conversations. But right now, I'm not like frightened or worried about Scoot Henderson's future or if he's still going to be a really good player, because I still think Scoot Henderson's going to be a really good player. And he shows some moments at the end of the season that was like, oh, you know what? Okay, this is the Scoot Henderson, we're here for. If you go from February on, he played in 23 games from February to the end of the year. He averaged 17 and 7 with a steal. Efficiency still wasn't great, but he had some 30-point games. He had a couple 30-point games this year. A game against Denver, he had 30 on 8 for 15 shooting. That was big. He had a game in January against Phoenix where he had 33, 7, and 9. Which that's a really good game for him. The last couple games of the year as well. Look at the last 6 games of the season. He averaged 20 and almost 10 on 42, 44, 80 shooting splits. His last 6 games, 22 and 10 against Charlotte, 19 and 7 against Washington, 15 and 8 against Boston. Didn't have a great game in that one shooting wise. Against New Orleans, 19 and 15. Against Golden State, 18 and 12. And then his last game of the year, he played against Houston, 35 and 7, and was 6 for 7 from 3. So the end of the year, he kind of started to establish himself a little bit. He had, I think 7, I want to say. Yeah, about 7 double-digit assist games, which is really nice to see him playmaking. Again, a lot of turnovers, but honestly, efficiency and turnovers as for rookies is not something you should look at a whole lot. Like, they're rookies. They're going to have high turnover games. They're not going to shoot the ball super efficiently most of the time. Like, it's going to, especially as a point guard, it's going to happen. So I think efficiency and turnovers and stuff as a rookies shouldn't be something super overanalyzed. So Scoot, again, I'm not worried about Scoot Henderson's future. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think it's going to take time for him. But just because we've seen rookies in the past couple, especially in the last couple of years, there's been so many rookies that kind of from the jump have find a role and taken themselves far. We kind of are putting that expectation on everybody. But, it takes longer for others. Trae Young came in as a rookie. It didn't really blossom until the second part of his rookie year. It took him a little while to figure it out. And I'm sure there's so many other, examples. That's just the first one that came to my mind. But there's a lot of examples. So, again, don't really worry about Scoot Henderson's rookie year too much, But looking at this Portland Trailblazers team and their future, it's very odd. I still don't know where I kind of lean. Because, again, they do have a lot of young players. They have Scoot Henderson. They have Anthony Simons, who's still 24. Shane Sharp is 20 years old. And they have things that I like about their future. But also, it's like, so I want to say they have a really nice future. But also, with the injuries that they had this season, and just not seeing these young guys develop and play as much as you want to, I don't want to really go full on in and saying this team has a really, really bright future. When we still don't really know who Shane Sharp is yet. We still don't know who Scoot Henderson is yet. we still don't know who a lot of these guys are, or what even how much do the Blazers as an organization believe in some of these guys yet. You know what I mean? Like DeAndre Ayton, who knows? You know, like he came in, people were expecting him to have a big year, and he started the year like we all kind of gave up on him. But then in the last, I want to say like month of the NBA season, all of a sudden he averaged 23 and 12 in the last 15 games on 57% shooting. He had like 5 30-point games. So it's like, what the? Okay. Like, so is he good now? Is he not? Who knows? DeAndre Ayton's still just like there in Portland. I don't think he's part of the future, but he's also not bad enough where you could just get rid of him, and he's got too big of a contract really for other teams to really want him. So where does DeAndre Ayton fit in? Delano Ban. Delano Ban got traded over to Portland. In the last 29 games, he averaged 16, 5, and 3, and had a couple 30-point games. So now it's like, and he's 24 years old, so it's like, okay, what is Delano Ban now? Is he a part of the future, or is this just end of the season because so many people were hurt? He just had the ball in his hand, and the numbers just look inflated. You know, how real was Duop rookie year? Is Jabari Walker a future cornerstone of this team? How good is Tamari Kamara? Robert Williams, what is he in this future? I honestly forgot Robert Williams was even on this team until I looked at the stats for them. He only played in 6 games because he was injured. But where does Robert Williams fit in to the mix? You know, so they have some nice players for the future. I mean, Matisse Thybulle, Chris Murray, Ryan Rupert. Like, where do they really fit in this future team? Like, do the Blazers think they're futures like pieces, or are they just kind of here right now? We don't really know. But the good thing is, they're not trying to win anytime soon. With them trading Damian Lillard and stuff, they know it's going to be a process. All these guys are still from the ages of 19 to 24, so it's not like you have to figure stuff out right away. So that's the good thing, is that they don't really need to figure that out right now. But it's just interesting looking at this team, like what really is the future? Like who is really locked in place? Who is the future? What is the future of this Blazers team? So I don't want to say if go all in saying this team has a really, really bright future when I don't know really who and what's going to be a part of the future. But what I do know is they have some nice young players that I like. You know? Now looking towards the off season for them. First, I want to talk about the NBA draft because they're going to have some good draft picks. They have their own draft pick for 2024, which right now is projected at number 3. They finished as one of the worst records, so they're going to have the highest odds, or tied for the highest odds, at getting the number 1 overall pick. Looking at who they should draft potentially, depending on their picks. Alex Sarr is kind of the number 1 prospect right now, I guess. I think getting him wouldn't bother Portland at all. I think maybe getting a guy like Zachary Versailles, I think that would be a nice move. You know, I think the guards, you got Scoot, you got Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe. So I don't think you need to go after a Topic or a Reed Shepard or a Rob Dillingham. You know, I think you're good on the guard, but I think the forwards and potentially a big, depending on how much you believe in DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams in the future. You know, so looking at forwards, I think Alex Sarr, he's kind of a 4-5 right now. Probably is a 4. So I think that would be a nice option if they do end up getting the number 1 pick, or even if the team that gets number 1, because how this draft is, Alex Sarr isn't a guaranteed number 1 overall pick, so maybe you can still get him even if you don't get that one. Zachary Versailles, I think, would be a nice move. Also, depending on what you do with Jeremy Grant in the offseason, Zachary Versailles, a big wing that can shoot the ball, I think would be nice. I've seen some Donovan Clingan potentially in Portland. Again, depending on how much they believe in DeAndre and Robert Williams, that wouldn't be bad at all. I think maybe even some forwards like Matas Buzelis from the G League, I think would fit nice. I think maybe taking a swing on Cody Williams out of Colorado, I wouldn't mind that at all. Ron Holland from the G League, you know, I think taking a swing on some of those guys, depending on where you end up, might be worth it because they also have the number 14 overall pick in this draft. They have the Golden State Warriors pick this year from, I was just reading where they got that pick from. They got it from, it's been bounced around, ended up in the Jrue Holiday trade. They got that pick somehow, and it's top 4 protected. So, barring any Derrick Rose draft lottery type stuff where the Warriors somehow move up to the number 1 spot, the Blazers are going to have 2 lottery picks this year. And so that with that 14th overall pick, if there is another forward like a Buzelis or Cody Williams that does drop, potentially maybe even Dalton Connect, if he ends up at 14, I don't think they'll be crazy and taking a shot at him. You know, maybe a big man. If you don't get a big man at the top pick and you still don't believe in DeAndre Ayton or Robert Williams that much and don't think they're a part of the future. Maybe a guy like Kyle Filipowski out of Duke could be something. Maybe a guy like Wes Messi from Baylor. Or even Khalil Ware from Indiana. Like, I think Portland has some options here with the forward and center spot with this draft at a top 4 pick and having another lottery pick. They're also going to have 2 second-round picks this year as well. One from Charlotte and one from Atlanta that both are projected to be in about, the Charlotte pick is projected to be about early 30s, and then the Atlanta pick's projected to be about the late 30s, early 40s. So you can still have 2 second-round picks to kind of bank in and try to get some more talent like you did when you got Jabari Walker and Toumani Camara when you traded for him. So Portland, the draft this year could be a nice one for Portland, which I think is much needed, to kind of more establish this future. And then looking at free agency. They don't have a bunch of free agents this year. Their biggest free agent, I guess, is Delano Banton. They have a team option on him. So, again, kind of seeing, how much do we believe in that last 30-game stretch of the season for Delano Banton, if we want to bring him back or not. They're not going to have a lot of cap space, and that's because they do have a lot of big contracts, which now we're going to get into the Jeremy Grant, Malcolm Brogdon situations, because I think that's a big thing for Portland this offseason too, is what are they going to do on the trade market. They have Jeremy Grant, who just completed a first year of a 5-year, $160 million contract extension that they gave him. So Jeremy Grant is going to be on the books for $29 million next year, $32 million in 2026, $34 million in 2027, and then a $36 million player option in 2028. By the time that hits, he'll be about 34 years old. So he probably will not be on the team at that point. So Jeremy Grant could be a good option. I think Jeremy Grant can really contribute to a winning team. I think teams will definitely love to have Jeremy Grant. It's going to be a little tough because the price tag right now for Jeremy Grant, having to pay him 29, 32, 34 to be kind of like a third, fourth option, maybe, might be a little bit of a big price. But I think some teams would do it. You have Malcolm Brogdon, who next year is going to be on the last year of a 2-year extension. He's going to get paid $22.5 million next year. And I think, again, Malcolm Brogdon won 6th Man of the Year 2 years ago. He's definitely going to be a guy that, honestly, I thought he was going to get traded this offseason, but that didn't happen. So he's definitely a guy that a lot of teams are going to, like winning teams are going to try to pursue. I think you can get something decent for him. But you also have a lot more on the payroll. DeAndre Ayton's getting paid $34 million next season. So he's most likely going to be a Portland Trailblazer because I don't know about many teams that are paying $34 million for DeAndre Ayton that want to take that money on. I don't know. Anthony Simons is also getting paid $25 million next year, which don't really matter. Robert Williams is getting paid $12 million next year. Matisse Thybulle is getting paid $11 million. They're projected to have negative $41 million in projected cap space. And even if you take out Jeremy Grant and Malcolm Brogdon, which is about 50-something, they're going to have a little bit of some money. But then again, who's coming to Portland right now? No one really is. They're not really signing any big free agents or anything like that. So, yeah, this is an interesting offseason for the Portland Trailblazers. They have some trade chips that they can use to get some more young players and talent for the future. They're going to have 2 lottery picks this year as well that could bring in more young talent. Hopefully next year we could see a healthier Anthony Simons and Shane Sharp, so we can really see Shane Sharp's progression, because I think Shane Sharp has potential to be a star type player in this league, but we just gotta see his progression. Interested to see in year 2 Scoot, how much he works on the offseason, how confident he can come into next year. Anthony Simons, interested to see if they do trade guys like Jeremy Grant and Malcolm Brogdon, what they can bring in. So I think, again, this Portland Trailblazer future, I don't want to say it's amazing yet, but it has the makings and kind of the structure to potentially be a really good future. With the young players you have now, with the potential assets you can have in the future, with the draft picks you potentially could have, there could be something nice in Portland. There really, really could be. It's just we really got to see it play out. Just like we do with every other team. But Portland, they're going to be one that I'm going to be kind of interested to see what happens with them. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, I've enjoyed the content around here. Consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining it. If you missed any other Look-In series videos, there's a playlist on my channel that should be popping up about here. So you can go back and watch those. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.